Holding down the ability key will throw out some shield satellites. And this is Protea's primary survival tool. And you know, if I'm not mistaken, it's exactly the kind of power that the trained person has been begging for Vauban to have for nearly a decade. Yeah, I mean, look at this thing. It looks like it'd be a perfect fit for Vauban's kit. Such a shame, really. It's quite nice being able to take a hit. And it's effective at any level range? Look at how good it is, Train. Do you want this, Train Man? Train? Hey, do you want this? Train, do you want—
I will f***ing murder you!
The next station will be Fortuna 69.
Even though I'm fairly certain that a decent chunk of you watched TennoCon 2020, I'll go ahead and show a recap of what the fuck ability replacement is supposed to be.
Yeah, so the Helminth is not just about popping zits. It can also inject your Warframe with a new Warframe ability. It can replace one of your Warframe abilities with these sort of secretions of its own. And so that kind of gives you a new level of customization that we think is really interesting. And how do you do that? How you accomplish that is you feed it nanospores. So
this is no joke. It's only nanospores.
This is literally
not a joke. So basically, this is called the Helminth Chrysalis system, and it's true. What we're allowing you to do is now replace Warframe abilities with a pre-selected, amount of abilities that the Helminth themselves has. As you rank up in Helminth Chrysalis, you will be able to unlock Helminth exclusive abilities. So these can replace abilities on your Warframe. Say I don't like Mag's pull, I can throw a Helminth ability in there. With the Helminth Chrysalis system, not only will you get some abilities exclusive to the system to inject on your Warframes, but every Warframe in the game has had one ability chosen that you can also donate permanently to the Helminth Chrysalis.
Donate? That sounds a little more pleasant than it actually is.
That's a friendly worm.
Why don't we take a look at what subsuming a Warframe does?
This is not to be taken lightly and is not for beginners.
Been digested.
Let's go see.
Let's go see Mag.
Yep.
Oh, she's being slowly sucked into the wall.
I mean, she's having a rest, I guess.
So in 24 hours, in 24 hours, this Mag Warframe will be gone from my inventory. The slot will be freed. That means that if I wanted to earn another mag, a duplicate, just by farming and playing the game, I could use that duplicate to give to Helminth to unlock that ability. Now, there's two key guiding principles we went through here. Every Warframe can only give up one ability. And we never let it be an ultimate, or what we would call a signature ability, like Necros' Desecrate. So when Heart of Deimos releases, you'll see a full list of every ability that each Warframe can donate to the Helminth system once you subsume them. Once you subsume Mag, you have pull forever. You can
That's right, the Helminth kind of learns it and it becomes part of its evolution.
Now then, does that sound like potentially the most fun yet broken system we've ever received besides Riven mods? Oh, absolutely. However, I do feel like a system such as this will kind of make or break the Heart of Deimos update, purely because of what it entails. Think about it for a minute. Warframe is a 7-year-old game, and all this time everyone has been used to following the meta of whatever weapons and Warframes are the best. Eventually Focus was added, which brought on a new layer of meta, especially when we had Focus 1.0, and eventually we got Riven mods, which allowed non-meta weapons to gain insane levels of damage, thereby unofficially turning them meta. Despite all of that, the meta of Warframes overall has shifted over the years from crowd control is the best to damage is the best, and now we stand at a point in Warframe where ability meta could very likely be a thing. Of course, Warframe is by now basically just a power fantasy game, and while there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, suddenly giving the players the ability to swap out Warframe abilities, even if it's only one ability per Warframe, that could potentially basically just be a bigger balancing nightmare than Riven mods. Don't get me wrong. The Helminth Chrysalis system has good and bad things about it, judging by what we've been shown so far, but regardless of whatever it has to offer, The way in which it's implemented is what will determine if it's a good system or not, just like Riven mods. Honestly, even though the idea of being able to give any Warframe I want an ability from another Warframe is absolutely fucking bonkers, I can't help but love it at the same time. For one, the Helminth Chrysalis system is explicitly stated by DE to not be a new player system. That might not mean much to you, but to me, this represents the first time that DE is ever explicitly creating something with the veteran player base in mind, rather than trying to cater everything to be open to new players such as with the Plains of Eidolon on Earth or Fortuna on Venus. This is also helped by the fact that also for the first time ever, DE is giving us a system which can be leveled up with already existing resources instead of making brand new ones limited only to this system, just like with the Plains of Eidolon and Fortuna. This means that people who have been playing Warframe for years now and have literally millions of resources just lying around finally have somewhat of a resource sink to invest in, and considering that the resource sink in question allows you to virtually customize your Warframe by changing out a single ability, I would call this a worthwhile if at least interesting resource sink. However, as much as I like the idea of being able to swap out a Warframe ability, I'm still a little bit hesitant to embrace an ability meta, because like the name implies, it's an ability meta. DE has already said that Warframe ultimate abilities and signature abilities will not be transferable with the Helminth Chrysalis system, so that means that abilities such as Mace's Peacemaker or Saren's Toxic Clash won't be transferable, and that makes sense because giving every Warframe the ability to deal
tons of damage
would basically shit all over whatever remains of Warframe role diversity, because for obvious reasons, if everyone suddenly had the ability to slap on a Peacemaker to any Warframe in the game, everyone would be running around as Chroma, Trinity, Nidus, or Inaros, all with Peacemakers. At the same time, and this was already brought up by a local Neanderthal, that kind of leaves all of us to assume that the only abilities we can transfer will either be first abilities or gimmicky abilities, which suddenly makes the transfer Warframe power system not so much fun anymore. As much as I love seeing new game-changing ideas come along every once in a while, if it doesn't have a genuine effect on how everyone will experience and or play the game, nobody's going to care. Archons became a big deal because they became useful, thanks to things such as Arcane Energize or Arcane Guardian. Rivens became a big deal because more damage is literally never not useful. Echoes of Umbra died and was forgotten because nobody really cared about having their Warframe become a glorified specter. The point I'm trying to make here is, yes, the idea of being able to have somewhat customizable Warframe abilities is absolutely insane and is probably the closest we will ever get to having the Warframe version of Kidguns or Zaws. Yes, this idea could be very useful on Warframes that have only one bad ability under their kit, such as Mace's Ballistic Battery or Necros's Soul Punch. However, if this system is limited to only minimal first abilities or abilities that are just utility or gimmicky, then this system won't be as game-changing or as exciting as DE is making it out to be. Even though I personally do look forward to seeing this system in action when the Heart of DMOs comes out on August 25th, mostly because I'm very interested in swapping out Photon Strike for literally anything else, I'm not going to be completely sold by the Helminth Chrysalis until the full list of transferable abilities is released. Overall, the Heart of DMOs update looks very attractive, and for once I'm actually looking forward to an upcoming patch without being unreasonable optimistic. Thank you for watching.